This morning I heard from my medical colleague, Dr Rebecca Inglis, of Healthcare Workers Watch, that a GP in Gaza was killed by Israeli soldiers, shot in the head, Mr Speaker. He is just one of 1,200 healthcare workers who have been murdered by Israeli forces. Countless others have been unlawfully detained and tortured. Israel is deliberately destroying the Palestinian healthcare system. Will the Minister please raise this with his Israeli counterpart?
Minister.
I can confirm to my honourable friend that I have raised these issues with my Israeli counterpart. It is appalling that hundreds of healthcare workers have reportedly been killed since the start of the conflict. We continue to urge the Israeli authorities to ensure that incidents are investigated transparently and that those responsible are held to account and lessons learned. Healthcare workers, premises and facilities must be protected, allowing medical staff to do their work.
On 3 occasions, the Minister, in answering this question, has said Israel must. What will he do if Israel doesn't?
Minister.
Mr Speaker, as the honourable gentleman knows, this government has taken a series of actions in response to developments in Gaza. We will continue to take such actions until the situation changes.
We must not forget Gaza. Despite the fact that the eyes of the world are now turned to the Iran-Israel war, it's very important that we continue to remember the suffering of the Gazans and we continue to move on it. As a witness to my committee said, there is lethal chaos in Gaza, a witness from MSF. But there is one read across, I think, from the Iran-Israel war, which I think we should learn from, which is the clear closeness between Israel and America and the fact that America can influence Israel. Yes. In our conversations with the Americans, can I ask the Minister to ensure that we continue to say to the Americans not to give up on Gaza and to use their influence to ensure that the Israelis do the right thing? There must be peace and the hostages must come home.
Minister.
Mr Speaker, this government will not give up on Gaza. I can confirm that my right honourable friend, the Foreign Secretary, has raised Gaza in his engagements with the US. I have not forgotten about Gaza and was speaking to Palestinian counterparts just last night. The situation in Gaza will remain a top priority for this government.
Pritchard.
Mr Speaker, Israel dealing with Hamas and Hezbollah is to be welcomed. But what is not to be welcomed is the continuing blockage of medical and humanitarian aid into Gaza. Whilst we continue to talk, children continue to die. And I hope that the Foreign Secretary will make it very, very clear that the continuation of children dying every single day is unacceptable, that he will stand up to the White House and the State Department and the Pentagon. He will stand up to the Knesset and to the current Israeli government of Netanyahu. The current deaths are just going on and on and on. How many more children need to die before something changes?
Minister.
Mr Speaker, as I said, the Foreign Secretary has raised these issues both with his American counterparts and indeed his Israeli counterparts, and I have done the same. We remain steely focused on the situation in Gaza, including the tragic scenes about the deprivation of aid and the impact that is having on civilians right across the Strip, including children. We are trying to take every measure we can to try and reduce that suffering, including aid in where it can be brought in, aid into the region where that is the most appropriate way to reach the medically vulnerable, and in a few small cases ensuring that Gazan children can access medical assistance here.
Mr Speaker, my Bath constituents have watched in horror as Israeli forces have reportedly killed over 400 Palestinians and injured thousands more in aid distribution centres in Gaza. Over the weekend, dozens more Palestinians were killed while trying to access humanitarian aid. Why is the government still permitting the transfer of F-35 components to Israel through the international pool, knowing these aircraft may be used in operation causing mass civilian casualties?
Minister.
Mr Speaker, we've set out the reasons why the government has had to make special measures in order to ensure that the F-35 programme continued to operate, including our continued role in the global supply, the global spares pool, which is in the United States. But I agree with the sentiments of the Honourable Lady's constituent. Clearly, the deaths around aid distribution centres are horrifying, and there needs to be a full investigation, action taken. But vitally, aid must get into Gaza at the scale required from enough distribution centres in order to try and avoid the horrifying scenes that so many have seen.
On Thursday, I received a message from Mohammed, an NHS doctor with family in Gaza. He wrote, "My 16-year-old nephew was missing for 5 days after heading out to retrieve humanitarian aid at a location announced by Israeli forces. We found him dead yesterday, his body mutilated, eaten by stray dogs. He died alone. No one could reach him or others like him in time. He was only a boy who desperately wanted to get food for his starving family." On the 10th of June, the minister sanctioned 2 ministers who advocated for the blockade of Gaza, noting that this will not remove Hamas nor ensure the hostages are released. But nothing has changed. So what further steps is the government taking today to signal to the government of Israel that the UK will not stand idly by while children in Gaza are starved, denied medicine or killed as they seek food for their families?
The honourable gentleman shares with the House a heartbreaking story, and I know it is one of thousands of lives lost in Gaza. The situation is intolerable, and we will continue to take further action. As I said, the Foreign Secretary raised this issue with the Foreign Minister on Sunday. Clearly, there have been significant developments in the Middle East since the 10th of June. This is now the time for Israel to implement a ceasefire, allow aid in, Hamas to release hostages, and for us to try and draw a line over the horrifying suffering of Mohammed and many others like him.
Mr. Speaker, the humanitarian situation in Gaza simply cannot continue, and we spent a lot of time in this House discussing the extent of the humanitarian situation and the fact that food and essential supplies are not getting into support innocent victims. Can I specifically ask the Minister, what discussions has he put to Israel and what proposals has he put for the opening of specific crossing points for aid delivery into Gaza? And can he give his assessment as to why he thinks the Israeli government may not be listening to this country and our government on this particular issue?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the disagreement between the Israeli government is not simply with the British government. It was with a wide range of their partners. As I know, the Right Honourable Lady is aware, we signed a statement with 26 partners about the humanitarian situation. We did a leaders-level statement with France and Canada. There is a wide disagreement with the approach that the Israeli government are taking in relation to aid distribution. The Foreign Secretary discussed these matters, including entry points, with the Foreign Minister of Israel just over the weekend. We would like to see the Israeli government shift position. It is clear, for the reasons that the Right Honourable Lady says, that that shift must come urgently.